Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, The Best in Islam. In this episode, we'll be looking at the best of Islam, continuing from our previous episode, with two other statements from Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him. The first of which, he said, as narrated by Abu Huraira, خياركم في الجاهلية خياركم في الإسلام إذا فقهوا. The best of you in the time of ignorance will be the best of you in Islam if you become learned in the religion. This statement of the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, gives credence or gives recognition to what precedes Islam, a person coming into Islam. That if there were good qualities which they had, which made them people of influence, people of wisdom, people of knowledge, etc., then the likelihood, after they accept Islam, they will also be great people in Islam. If they were great before, because Islam is not detached from life. What existed before the acceptance of Islam was life. What exists after is life. They're both interrelated. Only after Islam, life is now looked at from another pair of glasses. We have the Islamic view, but it's still life. So leadership, people who had leadership qualities before Islam, maybe they even got training, they got degrees, etc., qualifications, etc. When they enter into Islam, these degrees, these qualifications, this knowledge becomes applicable in Islam also. So we should never discount and feel simply because a person has converted to Islam, nothing before that is of any value. No. Sins that went before, they're not held accountable for, they're free from that. But in terms of their abilities, their skills, their behavior, all of the various characteristics and qualities which we hold of great value in human life, if they had these qualities before Islam, then Islam doesn't cancel them. There is a place for them within the parameter of Islam. However, they are modified, supported in different ways, etc. So those people who had good qualities, when we're giving da'wah, we're encouraging people to accept Islam, we should try to choose some of the people who are of influence, people with skills which the Ummah, Muslim community can benefit from. We should always try to include these people in our invitation. It may be more difficult because there are people who have position already, but we should not exclude them and only focus on the common people. And I'm not saying to focus on them and leave the common people either, but we have to recognize that if we find among them people who have an inclination, we should make great efforts to try to bring them over, because the Muslim community will benefit from them. Of course, people take this in a different light, in that they may give great support to people who were just stars. They were football players, basketball players, others who had fame because of skills they had which are not necessarily beneficial. So sometimes we misunderstand this principle of those who were great before Islam being great in Islam to apply to the stars. So when you hear about a movie star accepts Islam, people are, make a big thing about it and maybe put this person in a position where they're speaking on Islam. The people start asking them fatwas, and of course they may talk nonsense. No, but this is not what is meant. The best of you before Islam, meaning good people, beneficial to society, people respected them because of that. When they become Muslims, those qualities should be supported and they should be encouraged to continue to play this role. So this is the concept, that the good before Islam has value in Islam. We don't cancel it, we don't ignore it. In fact, we should nurture it. And when the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, when Muslims were in a particularly difficult period, he made dua asking Allah to strengthen Islam by some of the leading, young, strong figures. And Allah brought Hamza, he brought Umar ibn al-Khattab, to Islam. And that gave Muslims strength. So those who were great before Islam in their fields which are beneficial to society, we should encourage them, reach out to them to try to bring them also into Islam by providing them the necessary knowledge that they could make that choice. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ added the condition, if they become learned. If they become learned. Because a person might be, I remember there was a case of one individual, very famous individual, in the French context. He was a translator of the book Das Kapital, translation of, this is communist theory, socialist theory, translated into French, and he was a philosopher. He accepted Islam and was very much supporter of Islam, etc. But people put him in a position where he, after giving lectures, generally speaking about, before Islam and what Islam had done in his life and so on, then, people started to ask him questions concerning tafsir of the Quran, interpretation. And because of his background of being a philosopher, a philosopher doesn't shy away from questions. So any question is asked, even if he doesn't have knowledge, he will speak. So he said things. And naturally, because he didn't have the knowledge, he's going to say things which were wrong. He made some big blunders. And people still continue to put him up on stage and ask him questions from fiqh, questions from, areas that he had no knowledge of. And he would speak. And so he just piled up and piled up till finally people just washed their hands of him because he had made so many crazy, outlandish statements. So those people who come over to Islam having these exceptional backgrounds, we should encourage them to learn Islam, to gain the knowledge of Islam so that their benefit will be substantial to the Muslim community. They can then use the skills and the experience, etc., that they have, use it effectively to benefit the community when they have the guidance of Islam along with it. So this is the point that we have to keep in mind, that people from the pre-Islamic time, where they accept Islam, we benefit, we should strive to benefit from what they have, but we should encourage them to gain knowledge of Islam so that they can now convey that information to us in a practical and useful way, a way which would be in keeping with the Islamic teachings and not at odds with Islamic teachings. So they become, individuals known for making unacceptable statements concerning Islam. We're going to take a break now, and we'll continue after the break to look at the last narration from the Prophet, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, regarding the best of Islam. So I'll see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I am a Muslim, so are you.
In these times of ignorance and confusion, we have never been more in need of holding on firmly to our Islamic belief.
What is Islam? What is Islam?
Those simple things that define you as a Muslim, and teaching them to our families and our children. Join me, Muhammad Tim Humble, as we go back to basics in the basics of a Muslim's belief.
Polish your personality in the light of divine wisdom to live like a true Muslim in The Basics of a Muslim's Belief. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. and repeat telecast at 12 p.m. Saudi Arabia on Peace TV.
Pearls of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Narrated An-Nu'man bin Bashir. May Allah be pleased with him. Allah's Messenger, may peace be upon him, said, "You see the believers as regards their being merciful among themselves and showing love among themselves and being kind, resembling one body, so that if any part of the body is not well, then the whole body shares the sleeplessness and fever with it." Sahih al-Bukhari, Volume 8, Book of Good Manners, Hadith number 6011.
Where truth is hidden, misleading quotations create confusion. Where truth is hidden, lack of knowledge and wisdom cause upheaval and commotion. Where truth is hidden, manipulated scriptures and twisted facts emerge. This very hidden truth creates false propaganda, mayhem, chaos, disorder, and turmoil in our lives and the world order. But is there anyone with courage and wisdom? What is the truth, and who has the courage to expose it? Because it's your right to know the truth.
Watch truth prevail and lies perish in Truth Exposed by Dr. Zakir Naik, next on Peace TV.
Welcome back from the break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Prior to the break, we were looking at those who were great before Islam, how they can also be great in Islam if they gain knowledge. Abdullah ibn Amr, he quoted the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ as saying, when he was asked, Ayyul Islami khair, which aspect of Islam is best? He said,